Well, it is going to be one of those days. My video just clicked off, so we're going to start this again. Hello, good morning. This is BJ at BJ's Esoteric Musings, and I'm coming to you today after being gone for quite a bit longer than I had planned. Just trying to, like all of you, get through these last few weeks of crazy. Um, but I wanted to do this video and try again. Hopefully it's going to go through. And that's was one that I was going to call When the Unreal Becomes More Real Than the Real. And how do we navigate that and tell the difference? So hopefully I do have notes, so you're going to see me look down here and there to make sure I hit all the bullet points that I wanted to address. But as a bit of housekeeping, I also wanted to announce that at the end of the month, Cosmic Blue Avian, which is Nicole, is going to do a collaboration with me. We've been discussing about doing some wonderful cosmic lessons. And so she's going to call that segment on her channel Cosmic Classroom, and it will be on mine, Cosmic Classroom with Esoteric Musings. So hopefully that will pique some interest between now and when we sit down and record that. And we're hoping to make that an ongoing monthly sharing of different elements that we feel impressed to talk about, or that any of you listeners want to hear about. So that's going to be fun to evolve that whole process and see how that shakes out, see what the two of us are able to work together and create. So we're both very much looking forward to that. Now, back to when things become so unreal. Where do we anchor ourselves to find the real? And the real is very vague, as we know, because this is all illusion anyway, right? But we have to see something as a reality, or over time our minds just fragment. So the biggest takeaway that I have had for the last 3 or 4 weeks, for a long time, but really driving home as I've been so buffeted about by all of the shenanigans, I'll just put it that way. But what I realized more than anything is at this time of anchoring, our biggest directional to look is inward. We need to look within ourselves. Sit down in that quiet place, that holy of holies. Connect to our guides, angels, ancestors, all those who come to communicate. And sit with them, commune with them. That is a powerful word, commune. It's not simply taking a communion like many faiths talk about. It is the companioning of souls. It is a communing of community of souls. But we need to go in there to find our center point, because that center point is what is going to hold us from the buffering, from all the nonsense that we need to just be aware of, not be entangled in. That is the hard part, because it is all designed to engage, ensnare, to grab us and hold tight and just throw so much chaos at us that we can't sort through the minutia. We simply become so overwhelmed that, like the cartoon characters that just suddenly go, tilt. Yeah, like that. That's the design of that kind of messaging that we're now being shoved at us daily. Uh, we need to stay present. Presence is a powerful thing. All we can handle and care about is the here and now on our day to day. We can set our intentions in a forward motion and hold. Remember, we've talked about ideals on this channel, and those ideals are important to set as the anchor to hold to as we move through this. It's one of the reasons I brought up that topic earlier, and that is partly how we move through this. We need creative outlets, even more so at this time. Ways that we can unplug from media, from energy that's chaotic, whatever we are needing to unplug from that is creating an imbalance during our presence in the day, that we need to find outlets, creative outlets, be it gardening. Cooking may not be such a thing to be wanting to do at this time of year in the northern hemisphere, certainly, because we're in summer and it's plenty hot, as many of you are experiencing. But grow a little herb garden in the kitchen or in your windowsill if you've got the right kind of lighting for that. Do some canning. I have been an avid canner at different times in my life, and getting ready to expand that process into an area that I haven't done in the past because I've never had the ability to have a pressure canner so that I could do, for example, vegetables and meats, which need to be under heavy pressure. So that's something I'm looking forward to being able to work with and master over time. I also have a crafting room because I enjoy sewing, creating with my hands. So I find myself wandering to the back part of the house a little more often and going and playing in my crafting room. It helps just take your mind off of things, or mine anyway. It helps me relax into the day, and to shed whatever I might, if I'm having a stressor or just wanting a shift of something different to my day. And I think that's a big part of it too, is I think we need to be willing to shake things up, do things we don't normally do, and just be open to possibilities. Be open to the idea of, going to lunch with somebody. Go knock on a neighbor's door and visit something you haven't done in a while. Those things are important. We need those connections because things are feeling so disconnected right now. So connection is very, very important. Find 3 things daily to be grateful for. I know a lot of folks are talking about journaling, and I have been an avid journaler at various times in my life. It's certainly true, and it does help to sort our thoughts or dig down when we're working on something that we can't quite get our hands on. Just sitting down and writing in a journal often pops that stuff up. It'll bubble up as we get more and more into the writing and less in our heads. But it's important to hold gratitude in our hearts. It is important. And in fact, I start my day with gratitude daily. I found this mug a few years back when some of my besties and I try to get together. We've tried to do it every year or so. We've kind of missed the last 18 months, but we had gone for a weekend at Old Sacramento. and Old Sack, as Californians call it. And we had a beautiful weekend, just lovely, rekindling our friendship and you know, giggling and just being high school girls again. And I found this mug and I said, ah, that is a beautiful way to remember uh, to start each morning in gratitude. It's a cup of gratitude. And all on the inside it says, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I love that cup. I've used it every day practically since the time I found it. Work with stones. Work with stones. This happens to be black tourmaline. It's a pretty good chunk. I've got bigger ones, but I brought this in here. Uh, I always have my crystals handy. This is a twin crystal. I don't know if you can really see her. She's a double terminated twin. I have lots of twin crystals, actually. This is another one. It's a beryl fluorite. Look at that bad boy. Hard to see, but it is purple. It is edged in purples on a quartz matrix. I love stones in matrix too, because to my thinking, the matrix is what feeds them. I have a dragon's blood worry stone. You know, it's got for the thumb, worry stone. So fidgeting, if you got to fidget, awesome. And my love of dragons, I'm very drawn to dragon's blood, including the incense dragon's blood, which is very delightful. Um, Make it a point to laugh every day. I mean, those good laughs, those belly laughs. Find something that amuses you, brings a smile to your face, and that you can delight in. Um, uh, and, you know, it's even better if you have someone in the house with you and you can have a bit of banter. My husband and I are, we insist on laughing every day, and he's a big teaser. So we're always teasing each other. Um, do some research. Find a topic that you've had some interest in and not had the time, you know, all the years you've been going on, raising family, working, whatever. Now's the time. Find a topic that interests you and begin to study it, delve into it, find the intricacies of it, until you feel comfortable in your knowledge of it. That's always a fun thing. I am always curious. So, yeah, Leo that I be, can you imagine? Always the curiosity of a cat. Let's see. Okay. I know some, and I've been through this over the last 3 or 4 weeks trying to sort, but vacillating between holding the light and yet not wanting to be Charlie Brown, I call it. I digress a little bit. I know I said on this channel I would not do political readings, and I'm going to hold to that. But being the times we're in here in the U.S., maybe a little discussion needs to be had now and then about this unreal that we are finding ourselves in, this dystopian reality that is like, what the heck? But yes, in 2016, I held firm. I knew with every fiber of my being that man, as I refer to him, I don't like to give power to his name, would never be elected. I couldn't see it. I felt strong that it would not occur, and I stood on that like Charlie Brown looking at Lucy holding that football and knowing this time she won't pull it away. And I held so strong in that belief and had cocooned myself in that reality that on the morning after the election, my husband, who always gets up earlier than I do because he works from home and his day starts at 5 in the morning. And so he's usually up around 4:30 getting ready, doing his little morning chores, and then goes in and kind of wakes himself up to the day. But as soon as he heard me up, he came in and said, "Well, guess who's been elected?" And I was like, "No. No, that can't be." I was so shocked that I was a full 3 weeks before I could even articulate how I felt about it, how upset I was by it, and how unreal it felt. And I remember sitting down to the keyboard because I do have a Facebook page, and so I was, I connect with friends and family there. And I mean, I found a lot of old high school buddies, life buddies that have reformed and reconnected on my page, and that's mostly what I have it for. But of course, there's always venting about politics and this and that. And so I was seeing the comments of people, but I couldn't respond. I just was so, I didn't know where I felt in all of it. I didn't understand the whys of it. So I was busy in my head reflecting on what the heck happened. How did this happen? And after about 3 weeks, I had seen a post that really just unjammed the block for me. And I sat down to the uh, keyboard, and I began to type, and I had so much emotion built up within me that literally my hands began shaking, and it was all I could do to type. I was vibrating with indignation, righteous indignation, and knowing that this was an abomination. This should not have been. How did this happen? And that's been the how of my questioning ever since. And I know it's all for a reason. I know he has a purpose here. But I think he's been too long at the party. And I don't mean like political, although I'm sure some might consider that. But he's just been spending too much time at the fair, and it's time for the shift. I had to get a sip of coffee there. Also, I know we get told periodically to pay attention to numbers. Numbers are big in my world, and so I've been seeing amazing combinations of numbers. The other day, this was like the trifecta. I've never had this many occurrences, but truly, at one point we have it's a combination of weather. It's a little station, digital station. It tells you the time, tells you the date. Has a little graphic of the weather. It'll have a little rain or snow or whatever, sunshine. But then it has the temperatures, the where's the humidity at, what's the internal house temperature and its humidity. So I happened to look up at that, and I see 444, 555, 777, and I'm like, I have never seen that many numbers combined in one spot before. I see random numbers all the time. 1111 is a big one for me. But to see those numbers sequenced on that screen blew me away. And then the very next day I saw 1010. Later in the day I saw 1212. And like I say, I often see 1111, so that one I'm always aware of too. But yes, numbers. Those numbers are telling us things. Pay attention to those things and see what they're trying to say. I offer an idea of a day of reflection, if nothing else. If nothing else is working, try just a day of reflection. Keeping your workday simple, whatever you're going about, simplify it. make it easy on yourself. Give yourself the respite and time needed to be able to carry through on a good way without our energies being depleted out from under us. Yesterday was, the 4th of July here in the U.S., and so it was a day of reflection for me. And I thought back to previous years. I'm 69 years old next month, and so I've lived through a lot of 4ths of July over my lifetime. And I was thinking about that and the way things have changed over time, the energy that's changed over time. And when I was little, most of our 4th of July celebrations happened in southern Utah, where my mother had been born and raised, in this little cow patty of a town, just this little, I think their downtown was 3 blocks from start to finish. And it was pretty sparse with offerings at the time. But it was wonderful because you could just clothespin some cards to the spokes of your bicycle, to the little bridge that would allow them to clack and you could run streamers through your spokes and maybe get a little flag and tape it to your handlebars, and you could be in the parade. One of my uncles had horses, and often he would decorate he'd braid their manes, and he would put decorations on their reins, and then he'd put one of us nieces or nephews up on the horse, and we'd ride in the parade. One year, my sister and I rode together on one of his horses in the parade, probably for her to keep a hold of me because I was like 3, so that made her 10. So yeah, I'm sure it was to hang on to me because I could be a slippery eel. But and the fun of going first thing in the morning down to it was like a cultural hall, I guess is the best way to call it, but it was a big facility down in their little city hall that allowed you to have town meetings and things like that. But on the 4th of July is when they would do a pageant, a 4th of July pageant, and different people in the town would do a talent show or recite a patriotic poem or the songs, of course, all the songs, and it would be a group sing. And when we'd get done with that, by that time the women's auxiliary had full-on pancake breakfast in swing, and so we'd leave the auditorium and go out to where they were serving the breakfast to the community, and then they had tables all over so you could sit either on the grass and picnic style or sit at a bench with others and just enjoy the day. And the day rolled on accordingly. Activities every hour, everything from greased pig races to go to the park and do all the fun little 3-legged races, the running with the spoon or the water, the spoon with the egg, and trying to pass that off to someone else like a relay, all those fun things. And then in the evening, it was always the rodeo, a big rodeo night, and then the fireworks would start, and then you'd go home and you'd play in the front yard with sparklers, and that was a big doing. Or those little, you remember the little black, they called them snakes, like little black charcoal something that you'd light, and then it would start growing into like a snake and break off. Those were a big deal when I was little because we didn't have all the fancy stuff they have now. Probably a good thing because we could get into enough trouble. Firecrackers, all that kind of stuff. But it was always just a full day of celebrating the liberties and freedoms that we felt being Americans and being together as Americans who had been through so much. And over time, that has been eroded to a degree. I live in a small town now. They had a parade yesterday. They had different activities going. But it didn't have the same feel to it this year, and so my husband and I stayed home. It's been awfully hot up here, unusually so, uh, for this region, and so we opted to stay home and just take it easy. But however you all chose to celebrate yesterday, I hope it was a wonderful time for you and your families. On that note, we're at the 25-minute point, and I try to keep these under 30 minutes. Just, I don't want to drone on. But I thought I'd do a community pull for us for the rest of the month. And so the cards I've selected are the Gateway of Light Activation Oracle by Kyle Gray. I chose my Lemuria and Beyond deck, and I chose my Dragon Oracle deck, Diana Cooper. So, I apologize. I did not sort these before times. I haven't shuffled or anything. I'm going to do that now very quickly. And let's pull some cards and just see what they have in store for the month for us. So, did any of you decide to make this a long weekend? I know many people, it seems, the work traffic on Wednesday was quite light, which says a lot of people were heading off early for the holiday. And Walter, my husband, is working today down in the office. I haven't heard him have any calls or anything, which means he's able to catch up on his week. He usually gets tied up with client calls and such. So that's good. That means he's quietly working. And then I'm playing, but it's quiet outside. It's a lovely morning. We had lots of booms and bangs last night. So quiet is necessary. All right, one more shuffle on this one, and I'm going to draw 3 cards. All right, that's that. Then I'm going to do the Lemurian. I love these little Lemurian cards. This is a little, almost like a pocket deck. It's much smaller. But as my fingers get more and more stubbornly arthritic, and I keep trying to use Susan Lynn's suggestion of just saying, fix them now. It's not exactly working. But anyway, Lemuria. Oh, that one's just looking at me like there's no tomorrow. Oh, and there. And this one. You look like you want to join the party. Oh, aren't you pretty? That one just grabbed my eye as I was putting it back together. We'll see if that's a kicker. All right, and last but certainly not least, the dragons. What did the dragons have to tell us? This is the year of the dragon. I know my dragon has come forward very much so in the last month or so. Montserrat is his name. I like to say his name. And he's a beautiful, lovely dragon. Very, very wise dragon. And so I enjoy him very much. So, the dragons. What do you guys have to say? You, and you. All right. Now, here. The first, angelic frequency. Angels are here. You are safe. It is a potent connection. I am presence. Light body activation. Accessing the divine within. Boy, I'm getting a lot of glare on these. I apologize. That's nasty. The last one. Shambhala initiations. Retreating to recharge. Trusting in the process. Dharma. And I think that's what we're moving toward, is the collective karmas that we have been on that wheel, some for quite a while, and transmuting all of that into Dharma as our way forward, preferring the Dharma rather than the karma. Yeah. Okay, so angelic frequencies, I am presence, and Shambhala initiations. That seems to go right hand in glove with what we've been talking about, doesn't it? I just love that. All right. Our next cards are the Lemurian. Alignment. You can manifest the life you wish to call in. Look at your desires. Look at where your desires are being seated. If your plan or dreams aren't unfolding as you would like, take a closer look at other areas in your life. Is something out of step with integrity? Are you making decisions through fear or love? If it is through fear or avoidance, I can be an avoider sometimes. Your manifestations may seem to backfire. To encourage you back into a balance, become a vibrational match for what you desire. Instead of striving harder, cultivating the feeling of already having all you seek, you will be surprised at what this shift in perception creates. And there's the front of that card. Beautiful. Almost looking as though, actually not almost, it is. It's the chakras running through what looks to be an hourglass. Isn't that something? And that was on our first pile. Next is, oh, she's so sweet. Look at her. Look at her. There, you can see her better that way. And hers is trust your inner sense. Sometimes it can be hard to decipher between intuition and what our mind is telling us. Stories, projections, or fear can arise under the guise of intuition. To distinguish your truthful inner guidance from paranoia, we must return to innocence, to our purest essence. Oh, I love that. I'm a big believer in being childlike, not childish. That's a big mantra of mine. I like to hold to wonder and that innocent spark of excitement that we see in children. I think that saves us, to my thinking. It saves me more often than not, for sure. Here we have access to the truth of our being. Honesty is more than not lying to yourself. Boy, it is also about not withholding and having deep transparency within yourself. Boy, how many people are willing to lay themselves open like that? Learn to trust and be absolutely honest with yourself. In your heart of hearts, you hold the answers. Notice the first thoughts you have before you second guess yourself. Listen and honor these. Your first thoughts, not once you start picking them apart. Isn't she gorgeous? That's her message to us today. And then in the last column, we have Awakened awareness. This card reminded me almost of a dragon eye when I first saw it, and that's why I grabbed it. I'm like, oh, that thing's looking at us. It's got something to say. So let's read. Awakened awareness. There are many levels of awakening. Keep learning and putting yourself into situations where you can grow. Stay aligned with your inner guidance and do what you love to keep your vibe high. Seek not instant pleasure, but substantial and sustainable joy. Eat healthily, keep your body active, and have life goals, but with enough space to hear the answers to your prayers. Find your unique way to connect to the divine inside you, not as an external seeking, but as a receptive allowing. Oh, that's nice. Be inspired to see the question at hand with a different perspective. Look between the lines for the deeper interpretation. And again, I'll show you that one. The eye. The eye is upon us. Our internal eye, our external eye, the eyes. The eyes. And then for the dragons. Well, thank you. My fire dragon showed up. The fire dragon, first thing. And it says, burns up the lower energies around you. Ooh, you are safe and protected. Be determined and inspired. Clear your soul path. The orange dragon. Down in here. The orange dragon. The fire in the belly, I'd say. The orange dragon. The orange dragon brings soul families and communities together. Oh my gosh, is this just not going hand in hand with our conversation? Well, one-sided as it may be. Spread belonging, warmth, and oneness. Bring people everywhere together. I love that. I love that. A worthy goal indeed. The air and fire dragon. So, air builds fire, does it not? It spreads it. Air and fire dragon. Expand your creative energies. I couldn't make this stuff up. You guys saw me shuffle. You saw me draw. Crazy how this is like hand in glove. Harness your creativity, excitement, and enthusiasm. Communicate your passion. And that kicker card, this little beeper that was so pretty and just called in its blues, greens, and purples. Boy, I could almost wear it as on this shirt. Heart chakra, unfurling back to love. This chakra card represents love in its many forms. It reminds you that everything in life can unfold into love or fear. When unfurled back enough, the foundation of all you seek lies in the universal desire and right to feel love and be loved. Love heals. God is love. This is the force that will change the world. Yes. Have compassion. Expand your awareness and heart-centered radiance for all beings on the planet. Encapsulate Earth in loving compassion. Bask in the blissful feeling of the planet in all of its perfect balance, loving you back. What can I say? It goes right along with the discussion today. It gives us beautiful, beautiful messages to hold to and practice as we go through the rest of this month. I will be back before the end of the month. I'll come back when I feel prompted to do so. And so therefore I won't give you a time frame because I don't want to miss it. and disappoint myself or anyone else. But also, as the excitement builds towards Cosmic Blue Avians and Esoteric Messages, building into that first collaboration, I'm also going to have my focus there so that we can begin to set the foundation of hopefully what will be an amazing technical classroom for all of us to engage in topics over the next months. And that I very much look forward to. I'm excited to do this collaboration with Nicole. She's an amazing human being, and has become a fast friend that I feel like I've known all my life. So, yeah, looking forward to that, and looking forward to what we're able to collaborate together and bring to you all. On that note, we're at almost 41 minutes. I will say goodbye for now. Thank you for coming to BJ's Esoteric Musings. As always, please take with you whatever in this message resonates. Leave the rest behind. It does not hurt my feelings one way or the other, because I put this out for all of you and myself as well. I always learn something. So, again, this has been for entertainment purposes only. These are my musings and what I feel impressed to talk about. And so, if you have something, a topic that you would like to hear more on, please leave it in the comments. And please remember to do all the YouTubey things. The like, subscribe, and leave a comment, even if it's just an emoji. I read all the comments. I enjoy them when I get them. And so I'm always looking so that I can acknowledge and respond if there are questions. So on that note, I wish you all a beautiful Friday and weekend ahead in whatever time zone or place you are at. And until then, blessings to all of you. I thank you very much. And this is BJ signing off for today.